Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Morton. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the artist and studio manager at Baltimore Clayworks. We are thrilled that you all have joined us. I would like to acknowledge that I am joining from my office located on Piscataway and Susquehannock land, currently known as Baltimore, Maryland. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our virtual artist talk given today by Vanna Ramirez. She was a resident artist at Baltimore Clayworks from 2021 to 2023. Vanna was a recipient of the Mary E. Nyburg grant in 2023 and used the funds to help support her residency at Architopia in Puebla, Mexico. And I will now turn it over to Vanna.
Hello, okay. Thank you for attending the talk. That's fine. There we go. So 3 years in waiting, I was supposed to go to this residency, Architopia, 3 years ago, right before the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened. And so I postponed it. Luckily, I was able to push it back 3 years as the longest I could push it back to. And I finally arrived. I was there from April to May this year. And they have multiple locations, but I was in their main location, Puebla, Mexico. So this was the first day I arrived, and I was taking the cab with my friend Shaya, who's actually also part of the residency program with me. The program was a pre-Columbian instructional residency. And it was funny because we actually met at NCECA right before this, but we didn't know it. We didn't know that we were both going to be in this program, and we only met in passing. And so it was funny that we reunited here. And not only that, Shai was also supposed to come to the residency 3 years ago in the same time of the year. So it was really awesome that we both were able to come back and at the same time and share this experience together. Here is the entrance outside the residency space. Here's inside the courtyard. The studio. This is from a top balcony. And this is my bedroom. So this is our first day going to class. So twice a week we would take a cab, taxi, with Chai, who's the driver right there. And we would go for a class at our teacher's, Chuma's place, his studio, his home studio. This is part of his home studio. This is inside. We were mostly working outside though. And this is a map that he drew for us with the different clay bodies found in the different that he collected. This is also the first day, and so starting to make a few small things, just playing around, testing out the clay. So this clay body is all natural. He dug the clay up himself and processed it himself, and this is it, the clay in its natural form. This is a snapshot of Puebla, just walking through the town. Another little snapshot. This is okay. These are the other, so Shaya and then Lori and then Sayuri. Sayuri was working as an intern and showed us around town. We got meals every day. This was typically, they call it dinner, but this was around like 3 o'clock. So they always lay it out for us and we eat together. There are tacoyos and some salsa, and salad. So here we are together at Chuma's. So Chuma is in the blue shirt. Marta is in the right next to him, and she's his partner. This is a the pup's name is Petunia. They have 3 pups. Some snapshots of what we're working on. This is Chuma's. This is my studio space as I'm doodling or just sketching things. Lovely yellow building that I love because it was yellow. All these photos are chronological, and I have a lot of photos, so I'm just gonna go through them. This is the main center of the town. I love ice cream, so ice cream is a huge part of my experience there as well. Another little snapshot of the town. So here's my table space. Little things I'm working on. I've mostly worked on small things because the clay was very hard to work with because it would dry really fast. Well, it'll dry really fast if you're working outside, so it'll crack really easily as you're working with it. So smaller the better. Take a lot of photos of my work because I also like to play with perspectives. So here's a little perspective of a small guy I made. Here they are together. Ice cream again. Place. More pictures of my space as I'm working. So I made mostly small things because one, I was international, and also they had a small kiln. Just easier to make small things. The two other pieces you see, the whistles, the frog and the bird, those I bought from somebody. His name is Jose Luis, which I'll show more pictures of later. But he made those. We met him in town, and he makes pre-Hispanic whistles. Tile work. You can find all kinds of beautiful tile work all around the town. Here we are in the space making different things. So this is basically what a typical day at Chuma's would look like, and that would be every Tuesday and Thursday. So polishing stones to burnish with, and different samples of clay from different regions that will give you different colors that you can use to decorate your pieces. Here's an example of that. Working on, which I will show more pictures of as I finish it off. So we mostly did coil building. This clay works well with coil building. It's super wet, and if you try to do slab work, it won't really work too well. It'll just kind of fall apart, or if it gets a little too stiff, it'll just crack really easily. So we mostly did coiling. There are a ton of murals around, so every now and then I'll show some pictures of murals because they're beautiful. This is El Museo Amparo, and it's a beautiful museum, really, really wonderful. And this is in Puebla. Here's a snapshot of one of the hallways on the first floor. It's very beautiful, super, super wonderful museum. Here are some examples of the work from Mesoamerica. It was really incredible just going through the museum and seeing all the pieces, complexities and the variety, and just the whole expanse of it was incredible. This is probably my favorite piece. Ta-da, a little person. I just love it so much. Here are a couple more pieces I'll show. Again, the figural work is really incredible. Just stunning, really. Those are really amazing to see these pieces. I love this piece as well. I love the curves and the facial features and the softness of it. Later state. And also in the museum, they have a contemporary area, and I just put one photo in, but this is an example of how they included a collection of both things that are really old, like pre-Hispanic old, and then also from things today. So for example, something really old, and then something from today, all existing in the same space, which I really liked. It's just a shot taken from outside of Chuma's studio. Again, I love the murals. And this is outside in the yard at Chuma's. These are the kilns in the area. Just look very lovely. Cup. Her name's Tita. Chuma. This is the clay making station. So this is how he does it. He has the area where the dry clay is, then he leaves it in the bucket of water for some time, and then eventually he filters out the clay into the other bucket where you see the sieve. This is the main kiln that we used. Just some stuff on top. And that's the area. Chuma, and that's Pitaya. Love this photo so much. So I'm working on a little whistle. Like a couple different shots. I love playing around with the space and perspective again, which is why I take a lot of photos. Ice cream, very, very essential. More tiles. I was working on a cup and other things. So I was trying to work a little larger. So I started with the small whistles. And I'm like, okay, let me try something a little larger. So I got this form idea from a little card that just had earrings that I bought on it. And I'm like, oh, I was gonna throw it away. And I looked at it, I'm like, wait a second. So I used that as like a little reference. So the evolution of this piece, I take a lot of progress photos, so you can see it as I'm building. And when I'm building this one, I didn't really have an idea for it. I just kind of went for it and saw where it led me. So I added a little cap to it, lid. Collection so far. This is another little jar piece. Sketches. And then I added a little figure guy on top. So as part of this experience, we were given critical readings every week. And so a large part of my experience too was reading. And so sometimes I'd go out to have coffee somewhere and some food, and I just sit and read for hours. And this is evening time, evening crepe. It was very delicious. And I read for a little bit. Things together as it's growing. I made a cup. The piece I never actually finished, but I thought I'd include it anyways. And so here, I have some pictures of food to meet us. This is Jose Luis. He is a young artisan. This day he took us to his home studio to show us how to make some basic whistles. He was very kind. He's super, super wonderful, very nice, and just very wonderful. The whole experience of bringing us to his home and showing us all these wonderful things. So this is the table where we're making stuff. Here he's showing us where he collects clay sometimes. This is an area. Now going back to Chuma's, this is some of the work right before we're about to fire them. So we laid them out on the table. As you can see, the bigger piece I was working on, I kind of on that blue fabric, I sanded it down and then I burnished it a couple times, which is a pain, but it's worth it. Some of Chuma's collection of ceramics, food, very essential. Here I am applying a type of lip to the surface to add some decoration. After I reburnished it after I put the slip. So here is the first firing. Shai and I weren't present for the actual firing, but we came after it was done. So here it is inside the kiln. And then one of the techniques that we learned was applying wax to our pieces. So here we were making little fabric on the stick to apply the wax, because you have to heat up the wax. It's really hot, so you don't want to touch the wax. Here's the whole setup. So we are setting up a little fire. There's the fire. You can see the wax in the pot. So you want to put your pieces close to the fire so they heat up with the fire, and then that way when you apply the wax, it can take in the wax and absorb it. I like the shot because it's smoky with the pieces. Here it is again. So here I am preparing to wax my pieces. While this is happening, we took breaks, and so Chima was inside his studio and he was showing us how to throw in his wheel. Some great photos. I love this photo too in action. And process of waxing this piece. It's waxed. This is the result. A nice, rich brown color, amber-ish color. So as you can see, some of the markings remained and some of it actually just burned off in the firing. There it is on the shelf. Of course, we finish off the fire with a wonderful meal, some tortillas, and some eggs, tortilla, beans, and mole. We all are together enjoying the meal. Ice cream, of course. And this is Jose Luis with his family, his mom and his brother. And then the other two were the other residents in the later half. Is the collection that Jose Luis makes with his cousin and his brother. He is explaining the different kinds of whistles and sounds. And that's a piece that he made. Here's the piece that I was making before. Here it is bone dry, and I am decorating the piece. That's kind of how I started on the left, and then it progressed in progress on the right. It's a fun little animation of me spinning it, so you can see the whole thing. And here's the piece with the little flower someone gave to me. This is also inside Chuma's area. Sometimes I like to just take different photos of my pieces in different spaces. Here's the kiln, and this time I got to participate in the firing. So just wood firing, we're looting the kiln pieces, and the firing we unloaded. I threw a couple of things, and then there's a little whistle inside of the cup I made. This is Chuma offering some fruit. This is one of my favorite fruits, and he's matching in color, which I love as well. It is called mame. It's really great. It's kind of like a pink avocado, but it's sweet in a mild sense, but has that similar texture. And here we are processing clay with Chuma. So we crushed up all the dry dirt and clay on the tarp, and we are processing. We added the clay into the first tub on the left, and then we're sieving it. So pouring, sieving, filtering. We have a wonderful garden. Here we are helping out with the garden. And of course, cooking more food. One of my favorite things to do when I was there. And here's the piece when I finished it. So I burnished the head part. I tried burnishing the areas of the main body, but when you add slip, you can't really burnish it because it just flakes off basically. Just a little peek. A little friend. So there they are together. And that's after I burnished it. So here I am making more little whistles. Here's my space at a different stage in time. My collection that's growing, and these are now fired, waxed. Here I am making the little whistles again. And this is now the last little batch of things that we're firing. We're setting up a pit firing to fire my big piece, and then we added just a few smaller pieces that could fit in. So here I'm going to show you the process of building the small pit around my piece. Closing the piece, building material, putting the charcoal and wood, combustibles all around the piece, and make the pit firing. There it is, going off. This is after, once the fire has diminished, and it's still hot though, so we haven't really opened it up yet. This is Shuma's drawing of pitaya, which is fabulous. And here we are, it's finally cooled off. This is nighttime, same day. And we are unpacking the pit firing. Away. Here she is. Here we are collecting the rest of the items inside. So this is the end of my journey. So I'm saying goodbye. My space is now cleaned up and empty. There it is. I've stashed my things away on a corner before packing it all. I was also fortunate I found a Kung Fu school, so I would go on occasion, and these are my people. It was a lot of fun, very difficult, but a lot of fun. This is Francisco and Nayeli. They are the founders of Architopia, and they were also the ones who would be giving me, they would meet with me once a week to go over the readings, to talk about my artistic practice and other things, to talk about the readings and all. And so here they are saying goodbye. This is our little farewell get together. This is Carmen. She's one of the people who helped to provide the meals, clean the spaces, and all that, take care of us. I love Carmen so much. Love them all. One of the last days we were together. Murals that would always pass by on the way to Chuma's studio. I just love it so much. Gracias. Okay.